What's up YouTube? Today I will teach you one of my favorite ZVT openers, the Gas Pool Hatch Macro Opener. It is a strategy that gives you some initiative, which is generally very rare for Zerg in this matchup. Oftentimes it can and will throw your opponents off their game, especially below Grandmasters, because Terrans are the one used to dictating the pace of the game. They're not used to Zergs interfering with them that early into it. It is also a very safe Buildorder. It has great Buildorder matchups against multi-Rex Reaper or any form of proxy Rex. I even use it myself against Terrans of the highest caliber, in prepared series especially. And I know that even if they have the perfect response, they're not that far ahead and I can still play a macro game. So if you want to learn this build as well, stay with me as I will introduce you to the power of 1717 in ZVT. I will start us off by purely explaining the Buildorder in this replay and then talk about the execution and useful tips with the help of a game I've played against Spirit later on in the video. The Buildorder starts off with a normal 13 Overlord. With the 2 drones you build after the Overlord is done, you rally 1 to become the Extractor. The 17th drone will be ready to become your spawning pool. The second drone you build after placing your spawning pool will be ready to your natural to become your second hatchery at 18 supply. Saturate your gas immediately. Now make 1 more drone and wait for the pool to finish. Once the pool is done, you start a queen right away and 2 pairs of lings as fast as possible. Start speed once you have 100 gas and put all your drones back on minerals. Now make the Overlord the moment you have 100 minerals. Don't worry about the 22 out of 22 supply block, it is on purpose and efficient. At 208 you send a drone towards your third base to make the hatchery there. Once the Overlord spawns, make 2 drones and the second queen. Now at 26 supply, make the third hatch. After the third hatch, you make a pair of lings from your main and then 1 pair of lings from your natural. And then make drones till you make an Overlord at 33 and a third queen in your main right after at 33 supply. Your queen at the natural throws down tumor, while your main base queen injects the main and then runs down to inject the natural with its next 25 energy. At 39, you start your 4th queen in a natural. At 44, you start 2 Overlords. Once you have 16 drones on both mineral lines, you can ready 2 of the drones you're making into your main base gas and put the 17th drone from your main in there as well. When the third hatch is done, you start a 5th queen there and keep making drones throughout everything. If your opponent went for early reactor Tallians, you can now add Zerglings until you have 12 to 14 of them. Start the 6th queen in your main base as soon as your 3rd queen spawns. Your 3rd queen injects and walks towards the main base ramp to place down a tumor with its next 25 energy. Once the 4th queen spawns in a natural, you inject with it and start a 7th queen there. At 60 supply, you make another Overlord, and the next one will be at 66. You start your 8th and final queen at your 3rd base, as the 5th queen spawns there and injects the base. What you do from there is up to you. I would suggest going for a lair at around 430 and a baiting nest for safety from banshees and late helmet attacks. But you can follow it up with anything you like, as long as you follow the normal ZVT early game principles. Add gases as you approach mineral line saturation and take a 4th base. If you want to see how I followed it up exactly, you can check out the replay with the link in the description below. Let's get to the execution of this build. So here we are in a replay against Spirit, and I'll go over a couple of tips for this build and also how you execute it in general. The first tip right off the bat is that you should play this build against the AI first, because it's a relatively difficult build. You need to harass, you need to do a bunch of things, and knowing how to do the build precisely without thinking too much about it will help you immensely. So I think this build in general will be very difficult at the beginning of you playing it, which means try to practice it a couple of times against the AI, and maybe you can already start playing it against real players, and then every day maybe as a warm-up you can play the first 6 minutes of this build at least once to get good at it. It's definitely a build that you can play as a standard build, even if you play against the same opponent twice. It is a good build just in general. You can learn how to open properly with this in a macro game and you'll always be fine. So let's get into it. The first Overlord goes straight across. Now, on some maps you can go to the natural when there is a pillar, and on some maps it's better to go straight to the ramp. On this map it's better to go straight to the ramp. What we want to scout for is if it's CC first or not. If it's CC first, our first 4 Zerglings will hide if our opponent doesn't SCV Scout. If he SCV Scouts, we chase away the SCV, and then we can try to do something with the first 4 links. But if it's a no scout with CC first, if it's a no scout with Marine first, and if it's a no scout with Reactor first, we do not show our links. So if you see an SCV Scout, you can always go across the map with the Lings. If it's then a Marine or a CC first, like anything but a Reaper, you can go and show your Zerglings, try to get some damage done. If there's enough, you just go back. Try to pertain the Zergling numbers. That's what's very important. And then we obviously go for the gas pool. The second Overlord scouts for close by proxy locations, not too far away, and then goes back in front of your natural to see incoming Marines from proxy barracks. Now, if there were to be a proxy 2-Rex or a proxy 3-Rex, the way you defend it is with the first 4 Lings, you chase the Marine and the SCV back until there's a second Marine arriving. The moment you see the second Marine, it's going to be around here, depending on how close it is, obviously. You go around the first 2 Marines, you let them build the bunker with the first 2 Marines, you go around the first 2 Marines, and then try to intercept reinforcements with those 4 Zerglings. And then before the bunker is done, well, the moment you see it, you also start a Spinecrawler right here. Before the bunker is done, you pull a couple of drones and engage with Zerglings plus drones. Another thing you do when you get Proxy Rex is you extract or trick an extra pair of Lings out. That will help you quite a bit. And you also instantly pull down the Queen, which is very important. You have an early Queen since you're going pool first anyways. That's how you defend the Proxy Marines. Against all the Proxy Reaper builds, you basically have a free win already, so there's not much to talk about. Then one thing I want to talk about here in the execution at the very beginning is you ready this one of these drones into the gas, right? And you should pre-select this drone, or at least that's what I do. And the moment it spawns, you make an extractor so that you now can select your hatchery again and already make an extra drone. On some spawning locations, you spawn quite a bit away from the gas, so it ends up being an 18 gas. Like right here, it's also an 18 gas theoretically, so the Builder would be 18 gas, 17 pool. But you want to start this drone ASAP, so make the extractor right as the drone spawns. Then select your hatch and spam the drone key. That way, you begin the next drone as early as possible. So then we place the spawning pool with the next drone, and it should be as far away as possible from the ramp, somewhere behind your mineral line. So not over here, but over here, because sometimes the Reaper will scout it, and you preferably want to avoid him seeing if you start Ling speed right away. So then you start the hatch, you start the drone, everything looks normal at this point, then you start the 2 Lings. Now what you do with these 2 Lings is pretty important. If there is an SCV like here, I will show you what happens. On a high level, the Terran player will just go back, sometimes stay around here to make sure he sees where the Zerglings are, but high level Terran players will never go into the main base because first of all, they don't want to lose an SCV. And second of all, they will never scout anything. The reason they will never scout anything is if you micro 4 Zerglings correctly, you're gonna kill it before it gets here, before it gets to see if there's a Roach Warren or not. Now, on a lower level, I know that SCVs very oftentimes YOLO into the main base to try and scout for Roach Warren. What you want to do here, you already have those 4 Zerglings split up naturally because the larva spawns 1 by 1. The first 2 Zerglings, you A-move and already kite backwards. So you hit and run, predicting the SCV to follow you. You will never kill this SCV if it just turns around, so just try to make sure it doesn't get into your main. So you hit and run, you should hit it at least twice, even if it's mineral walking. So that's 20 damage from those 2. And then the next 2 will be waiting here if he tries to come. And you do the same thing. So that's an extra 20 damage. And since you're on creep, you will catch up around here and kill it. Pretty much. I can show this maybe afterwards in the replay. So you can see exactly what I mean. But basically you try to preempt the SCV scouting at any cost with the Zerglings. Now what to do with these Zerglings? If your opponent is SCV scouting, you chase back the SCV with 2 Lings, and the other 2 you send around the map. Then you pay attention to if the Overlord sees the Reaper coming across, which in this case was the case. So then you go away from where the SCV was. And what I do is I send both pairs of Lings across the map on different paths. If the Reaper finds one of the pairs of Lings, you send that as far away as possible to the corner of the map, while the other 2 run across the map to try and kill a Marine and the SCV. Now here I was forced to make an extractor, but that's not too bad. Since I saw the Reaper continue to my side of the map, I am now counterattacking. My opponent obviously is a top player, so he realizes, okay, the Zerglings are not on this side, which is why he's going back with a Reaper, which means these 4 Zerglings are most likely dead. Try to always prioritize killing or stopping the CC from being produced, and then prioritize killing the Marine after, because we still have stage 2 of our attack planned with the next 4 Zerglings. it will be a lot better if you kill the Marine. If the Reaper is not on your side of the map, if you don't have confirmation, let's say you saw the Reaper move out here, but you never see it on your side of the map, I would just keep hiding the Zerglings on the other side of the map without ever showing them. Keeping those Zerglings alive is very important, because then you attack with 8 Lings later on with speed, which is quite a bit more powerful than if you just do it with 4. We managed to even save 1 Zergling here, and we actually managed to kill the Marine. Now the next 4 Zerglings you send across the map right away. There is a chance that this Reaper stays here. You want to fear it away with the Queen, so you want to push it away with the Queen here, and then try to hide the Zerglings that way. Don't try to rush this. It's very important he doesn't see the extra Zerglings leave the base. It is much more important than having the perfect timing. Also, don't worry if you don't hit right as the speed is done. Just try to hit the moment the next 4 Zerglings, so Zergling pairs 3 and 4, bunch up with the other 2 that you already made beforehand, and then hit your opponent's natural. So then I try to do this as soon as possible. Because we delayed the CC, we won't get the mule that spawned from his natural very often if you hit around this time. So you don't really want to hit before 310, because that is when this mule drops down. He already played it safe, but a lot of your opponents will throw the mule down, so don't hit too early. Don't show the Zerglings too early. That's why it's so important. If they drop down a mule here, you will arrive just as the mule arrives, around 310 is where you want to hit. And that's minus 240 minerals, 270 minerals. Right away for the Terran. So that's huge. Even this, just killing 2 SCVs and getting back out, is already enough damage for me. I go up, I check for scouting information. At this point, the Hellions cannot be out yet. It's a 3cc build, so it's even a little bit later. Obviously, if this was gas first, the Hellions would spawn right about now, but it wasn't. I knew because there was Reaper into Marine. With gas first, there wouldn't be a Marine on the map. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was that you can really do whatever you want at this point. So after those 2 Overlords spawn, at around 50 supply, you can really deviate the build as much as you want. You can take earlier. You can saturate this a little bit earlier, take a second gas, go for a Roach Lingolin. You can try to saturate the gas a little bit earlier, go for a quick Muta play, or you can do exactly the same and still go for a Muta instead of playing standard. You can try to go for double upgrades. You can do whatever you want. This opener is just the small pressure. And afterwards, it just sets you up for a very, very standard ZVT early game. You can do whatever you usually would do from a hatch first opening, you can also do from this. It will be ever so slightly delayed, but it will still give you a good economy. And obviously with potential to deal damage to your opponent, but also just throw him off his game, which is very valuable. And now before I forget, I'm going to try to show you how to block your opponent from scouting. So let's say this is the SCV. It's coming right here. Mineral walked already. I even missed a couple of attacks, but you get the idea. Basically, you just want to hit and run with the Zerglings. At first with this pair of Zerglings. Attack, move, attack, move, attack, move. And then the moment you hit it a couple of times, killing it on creep is super easy because your Zerglings simply are much faster than workers on creep. You guys can watch the replay against Spirit with the entirety of its game, either from the replay, which I will include in the description below, or in the video from my second channel that you can click on right there, where you will see my entire first person view with educational commentary next to it, because that's what I will do on that channel from now on. I'm going to try to upload maybe every second or every third day on it. So far, I've only uploaded 2 videos, but I believe my library will grow severely in the future. So make sure to subscribe that already, and while you're at it, might as well subscribe to this channel. If you guys have any questions and you want to know anything about this build, if you guys have any feedback for this video, please let me know in the comments. It helps very much. I do read through every single comment because I want to include you guys and I want to take that feedback in and improve my channel. I really want to become the best YouTuber that I can be, and since I am now once again relatively new to it, I need all the feedback I can get. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.